Hello, friends and fellow seekers of the good, true, beautiful. It's Mike here, and this is Identity Matters. So, this month I want to spend a few minutes talking with you about a big concept, and that concept is purpose or life mission, if you will. This idea, man, it's so ubiquitous. It's everywhere. We read about it all the time. You know, what is your mission? What is your purpose? How do you find meaning in life? All of that. It's so we're so saturated with the words themselves that often it can seem like they lose their meaning, that they feel kind of almost trite in a way. And there are, of course, hundreds probably of different assessments or different tools, maybe thousands of different kinds of tricks, different kinds of little graphs that would help, different kinds of ways that you're supposed to be able to find out, you know, what your strengths are, what your personality traits are, what your skill sets are, what your preferences are, all of those things that are supposed to help you identify what your purpose is. And these are all very good and useful. I use them myself in my coaching. The thing that we have to understand about them, and I'll talk more about this in a minute, but the thing you have to understand about them is that they are left-brained assessments. They are, for the most part, designed to help you break down your personhood into categories and into charts and into like systematic graphics that help you sort of take the wholeness of who you are and break it down into pieces that then help you examine it, much in the way that you might take a lab animal and dissect it in a laboratory to help understand how it functions. But the problem with that, of course, is that when you do that, you kill the animal. And what I'm going to suggest to you in this video is that those are helpful once you understand the animal. They're not helpful to try to get to the essence of the animal. They're not helpful to try to get to the essence of purpose. They are helpful to understand how to apply purpose once you know what it is. Let me take a step back and just talk about why I think society in general has the idea of purpose wrong, and how I go at it in my coaching, and how I think it would be better for you to go at it if you want to really understand what your purpose is. So most Western societies, as I know them, focus on purpose as being synonymous with what you do. In other words, it's a task, it's a job, it's a role in society. So, you know, I'm a teacher, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a stay-at-home parent, whatever it happens to be. I work in nonprofit. I'm a nonprofit fundraiser, for example. And these labels that have to do with our job or our role become synonymous with identity, where we think the thing we do defines who we are. And it's helpful in a small way because it kind of gives you a lane to run in, but it always ends up being grossly self-limiting, because all of us really know deep down that we are far more than a role. And every human being you meet has far more complexity and nuance and depth to them than a role that you put them in. So you probably can't find, in fact, I don't believe you can find your true purpose, your true mission in life, your true reason for being here that way, by just sort of finding the right role, finding the right fit. And you can see this pretty much when you just look at all the research done in job satisfaction, or people who are happy in their jobs. And usually, almost always, the ranks are quite low overall. Or you look at people who are happy in their marriages. They think, well, if I just have the right role as a husband or a wife or a partner, then I'll be happy, and that will define me. And it's not enough. It's never enough. And I would assert to you that it's not enough because it's not designed to be enough. We are whole human beings who occupy multiple roles, And in those roles, we have a purpose. We have a mission that is ubiquitous, that is continuous through all those roles. But that mission supersedes them, transcends them all, is larger than all of them. So that's the mission you actually want to find. It's not some specific targeted mission or purpose that is tied to a particular role that you might be filling in a society or in a community or in a job. So most of the time, as I said, societies think that your identity flows out of your task or out of your role or out of your career. But I would suggest to you that it's actually the opposite, that your true purpose, that your true mission, that what you're actually here for flows out of your identity, not the other way around. And that means that you can't find out what your purpose is by looking out in the world and asking the world to tell you what your why is. And I've heard it read, or heard it said and read it many times, that if you don't know what your purpose is, the world is all too ready to give you one. And that is so true. The society is built around the idea that it wants functional human beings who are ready to be cogs in the machine of the structure of culture and society to accomplish all the goals that the society has. But that is not really in service of you, it's in service of the society. And so if you don't know yourself and know who you are at the core, and know what you are at the core, and know what your essence is, and know the deep truth of your identity, then you won't know what you're here for. You won't know what your why is. So that's the big picture shift I want to communicate with you around purpose, is that it is an inside out job, not an outside in job. And for you to discover what your purpose in life is, you have to begin with the question of, what is the deep truth of who I am? What is the deep truth of who I am? Identity work is the foundation of purpose work, of mission work, of figuring out your why. Here's how purpose emerges out of identity. Okay, so when you meet someone who is being completely themselves, and they are whole and they are healthy and they are vibrantly alive in the deep truth of who they are, first of all, that's a powerful thing all by itself. But as you spend time with that kind of person, like a work of art almost, well, very much like that, they have a natural effervescent influence and impact on the world around them. There are people in the world who, just by being themselves in the spaces they enter, for example, create peace. They are natural peacemakers. There are other people who come into a space, in whatever context they're in, who are being naturally themselves, who are natural creative inspirers. There are other people who come into a space in whatever context they're in, and they raise the intellectual curiosity for everyone in the space just by being in the space, right? So I know you've experienced this, where you get around certain people and you notice that something changes about the way you experience the world. You become somehow bigger. They open a gateway to something that you didn't have access to until they entered the room, right? It hints at where actual purpose begins to take shape. So I would assert to you that true purpose is the thing you're doing by being yourself fully in every context you're in. When I work with people around finding their mission statement or their purpose, their life purpose statement, I don't focus on trying to get a career mission statement or something that's specific to a mission around a job. I focus on life. Like, what is the thing that you do to bring change in the world, to bring positive change in the world, no matter where you are or what you're doing or what's going on around you. What is the thing you're always up to in every context you're in, all the time? And this is assuming that you're being yourself, you're bringing your gift to the world, you're being fully who you are. What is the natural purpose, the natural mission that flows out of you when you are being yourself at a 10, is the way we phrase it. And when you're at it, when you're fully firing at the deep truth of who you are, what is the mission that naturally flows out of you? That is the mission. And when you find that mission, when you figure out what that is, then everything else becomes in service to that mission. So it no longer becomes so critical. It's still important, but it doesn't become so critical that you find exactly the right job or exactly the right context or exactly the right role in society, because those roles are going to shift and change over time, over and over again as you go through the years. But your life mission and your life purpose will always be an expression of who you really are. Now, there's all kinds of advantages to that, because on the one hand, it takes the pressure off of you trying to put out there on society the responsibility for making you have purpose. Your purpose is an inside out job. It also allows you to use your life mission as a filter for what you say yes to and no to, because you can pretty much do your mission in any context anywhere, but of course there are some contexts that would be more conducive to it than others. So you would know that if you're designed to be a creative inciter of joy with crowds of people, you probably shouldn't be in a job where you're isolated and alone all the time. You should be in a job where you're with people. If on the other side of that, if you're designed to be a person who inspires through the written word, a person who inspires through their contemplative approach to life, you probably are going to need prodigious amounts of time alone to do that. And you shouldn't be in a job where you're constantly surrounded by people all the time. So just a few minor examples of how knowing what your actual purpose is can help you. But probably the biggest benefit of knowing this is that you never have to experience burnout with it, because the only thing you really have to do to fulfill your purpose in life is to be yourself. And the call to be yourself is the highest call of all. You're the only you that's ever existed in the history of humankind. There's never going to be another one of you. And there's a certain kind of combination of personality traits and passions and interests and ways of seeing the world that will never occur again. You're the only one who can do the thing that you do. And so the call to be yourself is actually a very high call upon each one of us. And the mission, the purpose, the thing that flows out of you when you are yourself, the transformative impact of you being you, is a natural effusion. It's a natural emergence. It's a natural overflow of you just being you. And so you never get burned out on that. You never grow to a place where you're just exhausted of it. There is a kind of good tired that happens. There's a space where you feel well used, as a friend of mine once said, but it's not the same as the kind of burnout we often experience in the Western world. So that's what I want to tell you about today, is just this mindset shift from thinking of purpose as a thing that's external to you that you have to kind of grab and bring into your life and figure out what it is by getting enough data, and more about an inside out job of discovering who you actually are at the core. And as you discover that, then asking yourself the question, when I am myself fully in any context of my life, what is the natural transformational impact of that on the world around me? What is the thing that I naturally produce? What is the effect I naturally have? What is the transformational change that naturally occurs when I am myself at a 10? That's the deep work of discovering actual purpose. This is the work I love to do with clients. And so if you are interested in this, in discovering more about your own deep purpose, then I encourage you to reach out to me. Let me know if you would like to have a sample coaching session with me. I'd love to have a conversation with you about this. And also, if just to take the question yourself and really begin to ask, when you are at your best, who are you? When you're at a 10, who are you? Begin to have that question and ponder it, and then ask, when I am at a 10, what is the natural gift that I bring to the world? What is the gift that naturally emerges out of me when I am operating at a 10 in my truest self? That will begin to tell you what your actual mission is, what your actual purpose is, and that feeds into everything else. So that's my word to you today. Thank you so much for your time. Please like this video if you enjoyed what I do here. Please comment below, share it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next Identity Matters. Have a good one, guys.